Hey everyone, RogueGold here, coming at you today with a very important update in the world of The Division 2. They did it. The developers have listened to the community. Seasonal characters, which was a big aspect of the Seasons 2.0 update and revamp that is coming to the game later this fall, have been removed and walked back on after extensive feedback and frustration voiced by the community. This is some pretty wild news, some that I'm sure a lot of you are going to be very happy to hear. So let's swap over and read what the game exactly said on the matter, and then I will give some of my thoughts on it. Let's go. Alright, so a short time ago right here you can see they posted a message from the Division 2 team, and let's take a read at what they said. Agents, we hear you and we want to assure you that we have carefully considered your feedback after the announcement of Seasons 2.0, with particular attention to seasonal characters with the goal of progressing without them. This change will not impact the previously announced Year 6 plans, but it will require us to assess the changes necessary to the new seasonal experience, which will be integrated with Year 6 Season 2 this fall. Once we have ironed out those finer details, we will return with more information, a live stream, and a PTS. Thank you for making your voices heard and your continued support as we work to improve the Division 2 experience to serve our community. The Division 2 development team. So, this is pretty wild. A lot of people said it wasn't possible, that once they announced this, that they were already too far down this path to walk it back. But after so many people said that they were not a fan of the idea of getting seasonal characters in the Division 2, they say right here, we're evaluating Seasons 2.0 and their plans with it, with particular attention to seasonal characters, and now their goal is to progress without them. This is some pretty wild stuff. So just to set some expectations, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, well, I want to know right away what the plans are. What does that mean for our main characters and all the things they announced that were intended for seasonal characters? They say right here that while it's not going to impact previously announced Year 6 plans and they're still targeting Year 6 Season 2 for this fall, it does say that they are going to take some time to assess the changes necessary, and that once they have the details ironed out, then they'll return with more information, a live stream at a PTS. I would personally expect this no sooner than late August, maybe even early September. July is when a lot of people within Sweden overall, not just at Massive, but the entire country, go on vacation. And so my guess is that they decided on this. A lot of people are going to be in and out of the office over the next few weeks. But yeah, once they come back, they'll do a big push on making the changes necessary to make this all main character focused moving forward. And then when they're ready, as they said, we'll get that live stream and that PTS, and that will certainly be very interesting to see the revised changes in plan here for Seasons 2.0 as a whole. As for my thoughts on this entire matter, overall, I am happy. It was clear that a lot of people were just not on board with the idea of seasonal characters, no matter what caveats or information was going to be released on them. And whether or not you believe that that was a vocal minority, whether that was the majority of players, it's hard to really gauge for sure. But if it can be avoided, I don't think it's ever worthwhile to alienate any, sizable percentage of your player base or community for something that ultimately wasn't a necessity. Did they have their reasons for pursuing the idea of seasonal characters? Yes, and at the end of the day, that is what I am slightly concerned about. As I said, it's good that they've walked it back given that so many people were so against it. But as I said for my very first coverage on this entire thing, there were two reasons that I was looking forward to this entire system. The actual idea of starting over and using a new character for this entire experience, I was completely indifferent to. I love my main character. I really only play my main character. I don't have vaults, so if we could have kept all of that from the beginning and just stayed on the main, I would have been perfectly happy with that. But there were two big byproducts of starting a new character that I was looking forward to. That being the idea that difficulty-wise for the game, there would be a renewed sense of progression, right? Starting at level 1, removing the legacy expertise bonuses that we have, the Shade Watch, all of the optimized builds that we have saved up. To me personally, that would have been very fun to actually have a sense of difficulty in the game again as we're going through this PvE content, going into the Dark Zone without expertise and with everybody having these new builds. That would have been a pretty fun, fresh experience. And then the second thing was the loot. Now trust me, I get that this is only somebody at the very highest end of play on this game is going to be experiencing. I'm not saying that this is a universal issue, but personally, I've had nothing that I'm truly chasing loot-wise in this game, or at least something that I can't get in like one run of Countdown, right? For a very, very long time. And so the idea that on a seasonal character, on a new character, there's actually stuff to farm again, and that rarer drops would feel fun to acquire again because we need them on these characters and not everybody would have them, right? Because they don't have the same characters and loot and stashes that they've had for years. Again, that felt fun to me. It felt like the return to a looter shooter. However, as I said, those things were just me. They were not universal things that everybody was looking forward to. And clearly, as I said at the start, there was a huge amount of pushback on the idea of seasonal characters. I do think, like I said, if it's at all possible, it makes the most sense to stay with main characters. That has always been what the Division is about, is investing into these particular their people and progression. So I hope that those two things that I talked about, both difficulty and loot incentive and the desire to chase loot, I hope that that can be retained and implemented into the main character experience in Seasons 2.0, but we'll have to wait and see. I assume that maybe it will not be. Either way, we still got a lot of things with that system that I am looking forward to. The weekly Manhunt Scout content, as opposed to now waiting 4 weeks in between when we get these story drops. Stuff like the new modifiers that are going to be coming in every season, the new mastered difficulty. There's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. So hopefully with this announcement and change, we get a lot more people back in the fold and on board for the idea of Seasons 2.0, knowing that they're going to be main character centric. And yeah, I'm certainly very interested to see what happens moving forward and what kind of information we learn heading into that live stream and PTS for Year 6 Season 2. So there you have it, my friends. They did it. The developers listened, and seasonal characters are no longer coming to The Division 2. I would love to know whatever you guys are thinking right now based off of this news. If you were somebody opposed to the idea of seasonal characters, is this a show of good faith by you from the team? Is this something that you're looking forward to? I know there were some of you saying there is no way that they can walk this back given how much work they've probably done into the system already. I'd be curious to know what you're thinking about this. As well as for anybody out there who was really genuinely looking forward to the idea of having seasonal characters in the game, what are you thinking right now? You know, it's totally valid if you're disappointed by this as well. But that's the news. I very much hope you enjoyed the video. And if you're not already and you want to stay up to date on the latest with the game in the future, then be sure to click that subscribe button. We'd love to have you. That is going to do it for me today, though, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.